7 o'clock Eastern Time. College football Monday night, number 1, Ohio State kicks off its season facing Virginia Tech. Baseball, the Mets are in the postseason mix, and the story this week has been about pitcher Matt Harvey's pitch inning limitations. And while it perhaps is more about pitches than innings, Harvey's pleased that the Mets are looking out for him. Today, the playoff chase continues. The Blue Jays lead the Yankees by a game and a half in the AL East. Yankees are playing Tampa Bay right now. It's 3-0 Rays in the third inning. Ben Archer on the mound for the Rays. He's got an ERA of .278. Houston, a 2-game lead over Texas in the AL West. Minnesota, just a game and a half out of a wild card spot in the AL. On the scoreboard, Mets and Marlins tied 1-1. That's in the third inning. Blue Jays have a home run from Jose Bautista, his 33rd. They lead the Orioles 3-0 in the second. This is NBC Sports Radio.
This is KCAA.
Consider this your invitation to sell. At buysellmakeoffer.com, you can sell as much as you want for the next 60 days without paying any fees whatsoever. Sound incredible? It is, and it's true. Buysellmakeoffer.com is the new exciting way to sell your stuff online. Make extra money right now. Sell your old car, furniture, video games, household items, clothes, even your home. Sell anything that's legal. Load up your stuff to sell right now at buysellmakeoffer.com. This is your official invitation to get on board to sell your stuff right now. Free for the next 60 days. And once you see how easy it is, you'll want to sign up for more because there are no item fees. That's right. Take this opportunity to move items from the other guys and sell it for free. You might even win a Samsung tablet, Amazon gift cards, and other cool prizes. BuySellMakeOffer.com is the future of online selling. You can use Skype to talk to your buyer or seller. Plus, you can use video to showcase your items. BuySellMakeOffer.com.
We found the problem with your car.
And
Turns out the carburetor differential modulator is out.
what?
And while we were digging around in there, this thing fell off.
Stop. There's no automotive repair nightmares at Diego Martinez's 5-Star Automotive in San Bernardino. 5-Star Automotive, where you'll get a great experience, and home of the $15.99 oil change. That's right, just $15.99. They specialize in transmissions, brake repair, AC, and many other repairs, all with a lifetime warranty on parts and labor. Diego knows when your auto needs 5-star attention, it's never convenient. He offers a 12-month interest-free auto repair loan on major auto repairs with no money down. He'll even throw in free towing and a 10% discount for his neighbors in the 909 who work for the city and county of San Bernardino. Call 909-387-0770. That's 387-0770. Your neighbors at 909 West 2nd Street in San Bernardino.
It's time for the KCAA Community Calendar, brought to you exclusively by Learn for Life, a growing network of public charter schools. The clear mission of Learn for Life is to motivate and mentor students who have dropped out of school and provide them with the personalized education and technical training necessary to advance their lives.
Hi, I'm George Runner, your taxpayer advocate and elected member of the State Board of Equalization. Small businesses are critical to the economic health of our state, but California's tax laws can be complicated and confusing. If you run a small business, I invite you to attend one of my free small business tax seminars.
The next Small Business Tax Seminar is in Apple Valley on Wednesday, September 9th from 9 a.m. to 2:30 p.m. Register online at boe.ca.gov/seminars.
The KCAA Community Calendar is presented exclusively by Learn for Life, a growing network of public charter schools where students can complete their education on a part-time basis. To find a resource center nearest you, call 1-877-360-LEARN or visit Learn for Life online at learn4life.org.
KCAA.
I'm sick and tired of hearing things from uptight, short-sighted, narrow-minded hypocritics. All I want is the truth. Just give me some truth.
Hey everybody, welcome to the Truth Only Show. Here it is 11:05, not 7:05, on Sunday afternoon, and we are KCA Radio, 1050 AM, and KCARadio.com. You can check us out there. And as always, join us on Facebook, facebook.com/Truth Only Show, or you could email us at truthonthelyshow@gmail.com. Now, here's the host of the show, David Rodriguez.
Welcome, everyone, to another episode of our show here that we have for you. I want to welcome all of you out there, but first of all, I want to give some special thanks to our people that make this show possible, is our engineer, Joe Pagano, and my co-host and producer, Michael. Thanks to both of you for doing a great job, and the show wouldn't be possible without you. So I just want to give you an extra thanks. And I also want to thank the listeners, because I've been getting, some good responses, and and it's nice to get a response. It's nice to know what you think of the show. It's nice to know it's nice to get some comments to you that we do get. We get it on our Facebook account, and we're glad to hear from you. And I just want to remind you that what this show is all about. This show is about you as an individual, because all of us are here. What are we trying to do? We're all here just trying to figure out the best way. We all just want to know what is the best way to live our lives, and we're all trying to figure it out. Some of us spend maybe more time trying to figure it out, and some just kind of let things go by as they go, and that's it. But basically, I know that everybody that is listening to my voice is trying to make a better way for himself in this life. And we are here also trying to do the same thing. So we're trying to give you something maybe that will help you as an individual. And I want you to remember that you are an individual. And I just want you to take a moment and think about this. Take a moment and think about all that. Separate yourself from all the things that are going on around you. Separate yourself from other people. And I don't mean to get away from them physically. I don't mean that at all. What I'm just saying is that if you take time to separate yourself from everyone, and you go within yourself, within your own thought, within your own mind, and you begin to think about what it is that you think about. That is very important. I believe that it's called metacognition, when you think about what it is that you think about. And when you do that is when you do go within yourself as an individual. And I believe that we should all do that. We should all take time every day to go within ourselves and think about what it is what we're experiencing, and think about what it is that we think about. Because thoughts create everything. Your thoughts create everything in your life, all your experiences. And as an individual, you are surrounded by whatever it is that you've been thinking about. You're surrounded by it. We're actually submersed in a world of our own making. So that is very important. So that's why I say you should go within yourself every day and think about what it is that you will think about. This metacognition that they call it in psychology. Because you are an individual, and in a sense, and I don't mean this in a lonely way, in a sense, each one of us has to live alone in this life. What I mean is that we have to live by ourselves within our own thoughts, and we can, if we take more time to think about it, we can begin to understand maybe some of the things that are going on around us, and maybe we can begin to make a little better choices of what it is that we do think about. And we will begin to realize that things begin to change when you change what you think about. What I'm going to talk about today is your individuality, and I want you to, like I say, make the effort to think about yourself as an individual. And I want to explain a concept to you, and I really would, if I can get you to understand this, it might make you begin to see things a little differently. The concept I want you to understand is that man or you as an individual, or all people, men, women, all of us. Everything that you can see around you is produced by things that already exist. I'm going to repeat that. Everything that you can see around you is produced by things that already exist. And the things that already exist around you are produced by thought. Just to give you an example, take your automobile, for example. The metal that your automobile has, we take it from the soil. If we pull it out of the soil and mold it and shape it and turn it into automobiles. The plastics, everything that you see around you that is made out of plastic, and there are many things, the wood, everything that you can see around you and everything that man produces only from things that already exist. And man only produces by thought, and everything that exists is a thought first. That's what it is. First, a thought. How to produce it. Someone begins to question, how can I produce this? Where do I get it? These are the kind of thoughts that produce everything that is around us. And we continue to evolve and expand on what it is that we're producing. But remember, everything is produced by thought, and everything that is produced by things that are already here. They're already in the soil. They're in the trees. Even our food was already here. It already exists. We produce only from things that already exist. If you can begin to give more thought about that, you will begin to expand you will begin to be able to expand what you think about. That we only produce what already exists, and we produce it by thought. So there is a power of thought. There is a great power in thought. There's one exception that I can tell you, that when we produce things that don't exist are in the arts. In the arts, it is different. Because in the arts, somebody, when they write a new song, they are producing something that doesn't exist. In other words, they are creating something new that doesn't exist. A painting, for example, a new painting, it's from something new that doesn't exist. Yeah, the materials that you use to paint with already exist, but I'm talking about the idea. It comes from the imagination. The imagination is what produces things that don't exist now, and you're producing something brand new. So the exception to what I'm saying, that man produces from things that already exist, is the arts. So it's just want to give you something to think about. And if all these things that already exist and we produce them by our thought, if you spend some time with that concept, you have to agree. I know you will have to agree with what I'm saying, that we only produce from what already exists, and we produce it by thought. I know I might sound a little repetitive, but I think I have to be a little repetitive because I want you to understand the concept. Everything we produce is produced by thought first. First, it's a thought. So now, let's take it a step further. That if everything that we produce is already exist, how did the things that already exist come into existence? How? I'm going to repeat. How did the things that already exist, How did they come into existence? Was it something physical, something or someone physical that put them together? I'm talking about the things that already exist before we were here. I think you can only come to the same conclusion. They were produced by thought, by something, by an invisible power, just like your thought is an invisible power. It is an energy. It is a source of energy that produces. I mean, it's a source of energy that produces your misery when you become depressed. It's an energy that actually affects your body. When you think the kind of thoughts that will produce stress and worry, it is an energy. If you don't think it's an energy, why does it affect you physically? Why do you get sick? It's an energy. It's an invisible energy. So back to my point, all the things that already exist that we do produce from, where could they have come from? I think we can only conclude that they come from thought. But if it's not your thought and my thought, or any man's thought, what thought power is it coming from? Is there a greater thought power that a lot of us don't understand? But where else could it have come from if it's not another thought, a greater thought power that produced everything in the first place? Could this power, this thought power, be what everybody is searching for? Maybe it's called the universal mind. Maybe that's when somebody's talking about universal spirit, the infinite mind, the source of all things. Does it begin to make sense? Maybe that's what they're talking about. This power that produced everything first. God, is that the word maybe that's used for that? God? I want you to think about it. It's a concept that you should probably go within yourself every day and give it more thought. The reason I say that it's a concept you should probably give more thought, spend more time as an individual thinking about, because the reason I say it's important is because I know that you have access to that thought. You have access to that kind of thought power. But you know, the one of the requirements to having access to that thought power, which is a greater power, a greater thought power than you and I have, it's obvious because we only produce what already exists. But if there's a thought power that created everything in the first place, it must be greater than our thought power. And if we do have access to it, the only access that we have to it is through our belief. You cannot really have access to it, not the kind of access that you want, if you don't even believe that it exists. And the only way you're going to begin to believe that it exists is when you go within yourself as an individual. Think about your experiences, and then think about what you think about through what is called metacognition. I believe you should spend more time every day doing that. And then every day when you begin to ask and question about this thought power that I'm talking about, in time you will begin to see that it only makes sense, that it is totally logical. And in time you will begin to see that you do have access to it. And in time you will begin to understand that thought power, which produced everything that we need for our survival, for our benefit, of all of these wonderful gifts that are around us that we have access to produce. That thought power must have had us in mind when it produced all of those things for us. So I don't think it produced all of those things for us without giving us a way, showing us the way, and leading us to those things, to the possibilities of producing everything. So it must have a great influence in our lives. But I think a lot of us don't believe it, don't believe that it exists, but yet we're being told all the time. I think maybe what it is we've never really had it explained to us in a way that we can understand. That's what I'm trying to do now. I'm trying to make it in the simplest way that you can understand this concept. That you have access to a great power greater than yours and mine. Thought power is what I'm talking about. One that is greater than your thought power and my thought power. And when you begin to believe that you have access to it, you can actually tap into it. And when you begin to tap into it, greater ideas and greater possibilities than you could have ever come up with for your own life, for you as an individual, you will begin to be amazed at why. How could you have spent so many years not even believing this? Or maybe because you haven't been taught this before. Maybe no one has ever really presented it to you. This is a very powerful concept. I know that it is the greatest concept that I have ever discovered. And I know that is the greatest concept I've ever discovered because it has given me the greatest transformation in my life that I have ever experienced in my entire life. And as an individual, I take advantage of this access. I use it. And we are all here the same. That power produced everything exactly the same for everyone. Because you have access to the sun the same as I do. You have access to water the same as I do, the rain, everything. You have access to all the food, the seeds to grow the food. We all have the same access to it. We have access to the same great ideas that somebody else comes up with. But I mean, you have access to new and different ideas. You as an individual have access to brand new ideas and concepts that nobody else has ever come up because you are an individual. So you have access to a great potential within you. And that potential that is within you is for you only, and it is unique to you. There is only one you. There is not any other you. You have access to it. Let's give a quick review of the concept that I gave you. Remember, everything that man produces already exists. It's in the soil. It's in the plant life. It's just everywhere. The metals, the gold, the iron, the oil, everything that we produce and take from it already exists. The ideas and concepts to produce it are there for you when you open your mind up to them, because you have access to all the ideas and all the new ideas. And as I said, in the arts is an exception. In the arts, in order for you to write a new song, you're writing something new that doesn't exist. You paint a painting that is new, that has never been done before. The arts is an exception to the rule that I'm telling you. And what I'm talking about is that there is this power, this thought power that produced everything that we have access to. There is a greater power, a greater thought power that produced it in the first place. And I'm telling you that you have access to it. But it's only through your belief. In other words, you must believe that it's there for you to get the full benefit of it. Because you have been using this power. There are times when you use it, you just don't realize it. But imagine what you could do if you realized that you do have access to it and begin to use this power for the good. Because we've been given examples of the people that have used this power to their benefit and have tried to teach us how to use it, and it always seems to be the love. There's love behind it. In other words, put love behind everything, and then watch what'll happen. That's what we've been taught. We've all been taught. Maybe it's time to try it. I mean, now. Don't go away. We'll be right back in a few moments. We're just going to go to a quick commercial break.
Children behave. That's what they say when we're together. And watch how you play. They don't understand, and so we're running just as fast as we can. Holding on to one another's hand. Trying to get away into the night. And then you put your arms around me as we tumble to the ground. And then you say, I think we're alone now. There doesn't seem to be anyone around. I think we're alone now. The beating of our hearts is the only sound. Look at the way we gotta hide what we're doing. 'Cause what would they say if they ever knew? And so we're running just as fast as we can, holding on to one another's hand, trying to get away into the night. And then you put your arms around me as we tumble to the ground. And then you say, I think we're alone now. There doesn't seem to be anyone around. I think we're alone now. The beating of our hearts is the only sound. I think we're alone now. There doesn't seem to be anyone around. I think we're alone now. The beating of our hearts is the only sound. I think we're alone now. There doesn't seem to be anyone around.
All right, everybody, welcome back. That song was called I Think We're Alone Now by Tommy James and the Shondells. We're back here. We're talking about how everything that was here already existed. And you titled this Talk Individuality. How did those things go together? What's the real significance of being an individual?
Okay, well, the significance of it is that, as an individual, each one of us is producing our own experiences in our own lives. Each one of us individually is producing whatever it is, our environment around us, the circumstances around us. We're each as an individual producing that world. In other words, we live in our own world.
Is that what you? Yeah, because you said that you're basically, you have to live through this life alone. Well, what do you mean by that? Because I mean, you're not being literally alone. What do you mean by that?
And like I said, we all really, in a sense, have to live this life alone. And what I mean by that is, and I don't mean, when I'm not talking about somebody that is lonely, that's not really what I'm referring to. What I'm referring to is that, each and every one of us is within our own minds, within our own thoughts, within our own life, And we are, in that sense, alone to our own thoughts. And we can allow others to come in and control that, take control of your thoughts, or make you react in a certain way, or make you respond in a certain way, upset you or whatever. We can allow that. But we can also learn to take control and think what we choose to think. That's what I said about metacognition. We can sit down and go within ourselves and take control of what it is that we choose to think about. In that sense, we are alone. We are alone to do that. We are able to do that. We are capable of doing that, of being alone and then learning to take control and deciding what it is that I'm going to think about. That's what I'm saying, that in that sense, we are alone. And we will create our own experiences because we are alone in our own thoughts. And thought is creative.
You brought up depression, and I think that's a good example that a lot of people have experienced. And what they experienced is that your thoughts directly affecting your physical body and your mood and how powerful your thoughts could be. I think that's a good example. What do you think?
Yeah, because think about it. I mean, let's get down to the bare basics. Thought is invisible. I mean, it's not something that we can touch. You can't grab it. You can't touch it. You can't grab it. You can't see it. Its thought is just invisible, right? I mean, anybody out there that's listening to my voice has to agree with it, that it is invisible. But because it is invisible doesn't mean that it has no power. It's got an incredible amount of power because it's an invisible energy. And it is a real energy. And there's all kinds of energies in this life. I mean, I've talked about it many times. You click that little, when you buy your car and it has that little clicker on it, you can open your car doors. It's an invisible energy, and it actually, a physical thing reacts to it. Well, thought is the same. It's an invisible power that is actually energy, and it does produce results in your body. So if thoughts are an energy that can depress you, which they do, and they have, many people get depressed by their thoughts because it is an energy, it is a power, and it doesn't affect the physical. Well, if you understand that, if you take time, that's why I said, go alone within yourself and think about this stuff. Don't just take my word for it. Go within yourself and think about it. And the only conclusion you're going to come up with is that I'm just telling you the truth. That's the only conclusion you're going to come up with. You're not going to come up with anything else unless you just want to be stubborn. That's of course, there are those people that are very stubborn. But when you conclude that it is a power that depresses you and affects you physically, well, then it is also a power that can make you healthy. It is a power that can repair your body. So that's why I say this is very important. I am giving you a truth that you should take seriously because it is real. You can use it. And it is a power that if used properly and in your favor instead of against yourself, you can begin to make your body healthier. Because it is an energy. It will begin to affect everything in your body, your cells, your molecules. It'll begin to affect everything, the atoms in your body. Thought affects them. That's what I'm trying to say.
You also spoke about metacognition.
Yeah.
And I have a couple quotes here, and tell me if you like them or you dislike them.
All right.
About metacognition. The source is unknown for this one, but it says simple shifts in points of view can open doors to expansions of consciousness as easily as rigid dispositions can close hearts and minds to such elevated awareness. It generally depends on whether you allow fear and violence to rule your actions or whether you give wisdom, courage, and compassion the authority to do so. So,
total agreement. I mean, you can open your mind to wisdom. You can. But you can also close off to fear. You can close your mind to and have fear for anything and everything. It doesn't matter what it is, but once fear sets in, the mind shuts down to anything new, any more possibilities. The mind is just closed down. And when you're talking about metacognition, you can go within yourself and make a decision to say to yourself that you are going to open up to new possibilities. You're going to open up to new things, to good things. You have that choice. You can do it as an individual. That's what metacognition is. Go within and think about what you think about and change it. Change what you think about and change your life.
that's exactly what this quote is saying. It's by Thomas M. Sterner. It says, "So few people are really aware of their thoughts. Their minds run all over the place without their permission, and they go along for the ride unknowingly and without making a choice."
Yes, sad to say, I'm in total agreement with him, and I'm also sad to say that a huge portion of the population does too much of that. Just lets the mind run and run on its own without taking any control, and just taking in and accepting false concepts, false ideas, being taught by people that are teaching false things. And I don't have to mention what it is. Maybe you can figure it out for yourself. Because if you're going somewhere and somebody's teaching you something, and it's bringing nothing, if it's not bringing you any more joy, any more happiness, or any more peace in your life, maybe you ought to consider who you're listening to. That's what I'm trying to say. And if you just let your mind run on its own, it will accept whatever goes into it. But what we're talking about is you going within yourself and taking control of what you think about. And it doesn't matter what somebody else says or anything. Yeah, if they give you something that is really good, take it. But if they've been giving you something that doesn't work, it hasn't worked, it isn't helping you in your life, maybe you need to go to a different source.
You brought up how everything was created from something here, and you brought up the arts. And could you explain that? You said that was the exception.
Yeah, I say the arts is the exception because, let's say, for example, you're a musician. Okay, you want to produce a new song. Okay, the guitar already exists. Let's say if you're a guitar player, the guitar exists. The notes already exist. They're already there. They've already been given to us. So they've already been discovered. The notes and the way they work together, all that already exists. But it's the combination that you put the notes in the combination that you put the notes together and produce the new song doesn't exist. You are creating something brand new that does not exist. That's why I say a new song, when somebody writes a brand new song, that song has never been written before. It is brand new. It does not exist. That's why I said the arts is an exception. Same thing with a painting. You make a painting, you're a painter, the materials exist, the brushes already exist, the paint exists, somebody has already produced all that for us, the canvas exists, all those things already exist from things that already exist, somebody produced them. But the way you, with your idea, with your mind, you put those colors together in a pattern that nobody has ever done before. It is a brand new pattern. It is a brand new painting that has never been done before. It is new, doesn't exist, never has existed. That's why I say the arts is an exception to what I was talking about, that everything that man produces, he only produces for things that already exist.
But would you say like inventing is kind of like an art? Because, the car never existed until somebody made it.
Yeah, I really don't that word to me, inventing, doesn't really hit well with me when you say inventing. I know it's used a lot, and it's okay. Don't get me wrong. It's okay. But inventing something is, in a sense, not really true. We don't really invent anything. We just discover.
But what about a car?
We discovered.
You're saying we didn't discover a car here.
We
invented it.
Well, that's what I'm saying. It's okay if you want to think about it as invent. That's fine. I'm just saying with myself, a man discovered through his thoughts. Discovered first of all the wheel. Mm-hmm. Okay, he discovered the concept of the wheel. Mm-hmm. Okay, the concept of the wheel has always been here. Every idea that exists has always been here. When it comes to an automobile, when it comes to a plane, when the every concept is already here. That's something very important that we need to understand. Whatever man is going to produce in the future already exists. I mean, let me see if I can make it a little clearer. When somebody discovered electricity,
I would think that was different, though. I would say that was different because electricity was always here.
So is everything else. And then somebody opened his mind and discovered it.
I would say the light bulb wasn't always here. It's not like there was pieces of a light bulb. Somebody put, like you said, with art, but put these things together in a combination that created the light bulb.
Well, but they discovered the idea how to do it. The idea how to put it together. That's what I'm talking about. They discovered it. It's been discovered how to put it together. So that's why I say that's a very technical thing, and it's not nothing really to get. Whichever way you want to think about it, invent. If you want to think of yourself as you want to invent something new, that's fine. I'm only saying for myself. I just see it in a little different way, which it's not a big deal to me. I just think we discover things that already exist. We just discover how to put them together and use them.
Let's take a quick break. And we'll come back with more.
All right. We'll be right back. Don't go away.
What else do you want to talk about?
When I see her coming down the street, I get so shaky and I feel so weak. I tell my eyes, look the other way, but they don't seem to hear a word I say, and I go to pieces and I wanna hide. Go to pieces and I almost die every time my baby passes by. I tell my arms they'll hold someone new, another love that will be true. But they don't listen, they don't seem to care. They reach for her, but she's not there. And I go to pieces and I wanna hide. Go to pieces and I almost die every time my baby passes by. I remember what she said when she said goodbye, baby. Again soon, maybe, but until we do, all my best to you. I'm so lonely, think about her only. I go to places we used to go, but I know she'll never show. She hurt me so much inside. Now I hope she's satisfied, and I go to pieces and I wanna hide. Go to pieces and I almost die every time my baby passes by. Go to pieces and I cry every time my baby passes by. Go to pieces and I cry.
Welcome back. That song was called I Go to Pieces by Peter and Gordon. Now we're back. We're talking about individuality, and we're talking about a lot of things here.
Yeah.
I think I have one more question for you, and then I kind of want you to put all these things, different things together. But before we do that, the last subject that we spoke about was thought power, and really that our thoughts have power is exactly what you mean, and how that we take all these things or that are around us, all of these raw materials basically, and using our thought, you make something out of them.
Right.
Could you go into explain that a little more?
Well, yeah. The point of this whole thing is that whatever man produces, man produces only from something that already exists. I mean, all the minerals are here. Everything that exists is already here. It was already here for us. In other words, it is for us. I'm sure it's for us because aren't we the ones that use it? Everything was here, placed for us, I believe, because why else is it here? So if all of these things already exist, and the only access we have to all of these wonderful gifts, let's call them gifts, the only access that we have to them is through our thought. In other words, if we don't use our thought, we can't produce anything. It takes our thought to produce these things. It takes our thought to get the minerals out of the ground and convert them and turn them into whatever we choose to convert in, whatever shapes and sizes and whatever we need them for. It takes thought to produce them. But the important point is they already exist. They're already there. They were there for us all along. And I'm talking about everything. So the point that I make, and one of the most important points I want to make to the listeners out there, to you as an individual, I would like you to think about this. What thought power put those things there in the first place? If it takes thought power to produce what's there for us, what thought power put them there in the first place? I believe it's a greater thought power than what we have. We have access to things that already exist, but that power didn't. That power had a greater power to produce the things in the first place, including you. I'm going to repeat that. That thought power had the power to produce you and me and all of us. And every animal out there, it had the thought power to produce us in the first place. So I believe it is a greater power, and I believe it was its intention to produce us. And it was its intention to produce us with the power of thought, to use all of these things that it put here for us, to use them and distribute them. In other words, it gave us the power to distribute its power. It gave us that kind of power. It was the power to put everything in the first place, and it gave us the power to use our minds and distribute this. And I don't believe its intention was to use these things that exist to kill ourselves with. I can't believe that. But that it could be your choice. It could be your choice to use whatever things are here to kill somebody with. That's your choice, but you will pay the consequences. I think that it put everything here for us to get it and distribute it amongst each other to provide more good for all of us. That's what I believe its intention was. So, it doesn't treat anybody any more special than anybody else, because you all have access to that power, to that infinite intelligence. You have access to it to begin to produce more good for everyone. You have access to it when you go within yourself as an individual and think about it and begin to think those kind of things and begin to produce good things instead of how we've spent many years producing negative things, negative experiences with each other. Did that make any sense? Did I explain what you wanted to know, or did I go around the question?
Well, I think you explained it, but I think that to me, it sounds like you're saying that something created all of us that was greater than what we can use. So, does that matter to us? Is what I'm wondering.
Well, I believe it does matter to us. It should matter to us because, I mean, all what we consider to be the great teachers, what we consider the people that we have considered to be the great teachers, they all seem to say that there is that kind of a power that does exist. They seem to say it. How come we can't believe it? What is it that we don't believe when somebody comes up with a greater concept that you could ever come up with yourself, and then we don't even believe him? But yet there are some of the people that are never have left us in history, the greatest personalities that we have ever been given to us, yet we don't even believe them. We say we do, but we don't really. And they're all trying to tell us that power is the same for all of us, but yet we don't believe them. Why? Think about it. Maybe we should start believing some of the things they said. Like, for example, if you had the faith the size of a mustard seed, you could move mountains. What does that mean? You ever begin to question what that really means?
Mm-hmm. You said that power was greater than ours.
Greater than our thought power.
Yeah.
But we have access to that thought power that you can tap into it, is what I'm trying to say. You can tap into that power. I mean, the only way to find out is to try it. Instead of, well, let's look at it this way. If what you've been doing all your life, 20 years, 30 years, 40 years, 50 years, I don't care how many years, I don't care how old anybody is, if what you've been doing and you are not satisfied yet and you think life should be better, maybe you haven't bothered to try this, what I'm trying to say. Maybe you haven't tried it. Maybe it's time to try it. All I can say is that I know I spent a good part of my life, like everybody, like a lot of people, stressed out, worried, and depressed, and wondering what's this life all about, and all these silly questions that we run through our heads. They're just silly questions because we do not have to live that way. When you tap into the source, everything begins to change.
Let's now we're coming towards the end of the show, so we talked about a lot of things today.
Yeah,
you had, and I want you to talk about all of them, but tie them all together for us, wrap them all up into one thought here. You got individuality, metacognition, and thought power.
Mm-hmm.
So could you tie those all in together for us? What do those have to do with each other, and what do we do with this information?
Okay. Individuality. In other words, you are an individual. Everybody is an individual. You, as I said before, in a sense, have to live this life alone. And again, I don't mean in a lonely sense. What I'm trying to say is that you have to live this life alone. In other words, you're alone in your own thoughts. You're alone in your own world, in your own mind. That is what individuality is. You are in there. Nobody is in there but you. You know, we let others get in there and control what we think, but really, you are an individual. You can get in. You can go within yourself and begin to take control of what you think. Metacognition, what it's trying to say is that when you do go within yourself, take some time being alone. I recommend a half an hour a day. Take some time being alone and think about what you think about. In other words, look at your life, look at your experiences, and then think about types of things do you focus on? Are you focused on all your problems? Are you focused on the negative experiences, negative things that you're experiencing? Is that what you think about all the time? Are you focused on your health issues all the time? Is that what you spend a lot of time thinking about? Those are the things that you think about. Metacognition says go within yourself and think about what you think about. Now, once you begin to do that and you begin to see the relationship between your experiences and the way you think, now you begin to grasp and say, you know what? I'm going to change what I think about. And I'm going to repeat again what I've said many times on this show. It is not an easy thing to do. I hate to say that. I would love to tell you that it's so easy that anybody can do it. It isn't, but it is very simple. Think about the good things. Begin to see people in a good way. Begin to say that life is great. Life is beautiful. That's what I mean by take control, take charge of your individuality. And if you do it faithfully, you will begin to feel different. You will begin to feel better about yourself. That is the thought power that I'm talking about. There is power within your thought. We said that it is an energy. Negative thoughts, when you're constantly thinking about negative thoughts, they can stress you. You begin stress. It's a physical thing because it is an energy. Your body begins to feel bad. You begin to get sick. The more you think negative things, the worse you feel because it is an energy. Well, just think the opposite. Think things are great. Begin to think things are good and begin to think that you are healthy, that everything that doesn't belong in your body is leaving you. It's just gone. It's leaving you. Everything will pass. Begin to think those things. Try it faithfully. You will begin to experience new things. You will begin to feel different. You will begin to see a potential within yourself that you never could see before. Because what I believe, when you begin to think nothing but the good, you tap into this source of good that will new ideas, new concepts will begin to come into your mind. You will begin to experience new things. You will begin to see everything differently in a much better way. You will get happier. You will be happier. You will be more at peace. You will begin to experience the opposite of what you have been experiencing, but you must do it through metacognition, through your individuality. You can take control of everything that runs through your mind. You can take control. Well, we're almost out of time, Michael. So you want to give listeners some more information so they can tap into more of our sources that we have for them?
Yes, you can email us at truthonlyshow@gmail.com and join us on Facebook, facebook.com/truthonlyshow.
And I want to remind you that what you're listening to is the David Paul Band, and I recommended you go to davidpaulmusic.com for a wonderful night of entertainment. Go on the calendar and check them out, and we may see you one day there. So have a great day. Remember, put some good thoughts in your mind, and we will see you again next week.
You're on board KCAA's Inland Talk Express. KCAA, Loma Linda, 1050 AM, the station that leaves no listener behind.
Your NBC Sports Radio update starts now.
Major League Baseball, the pennant races are on. Wild cards and divisions at risk. September, a big month for that. On the scoreboard today, Brian McCann hit a 3-run blast for the Yankees. A-Rod hit a solo shot, his 28th of the year. And in the